Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Justin
And Max Games,
in another review, and today we're going to be doing
Rise to Nobility.
and Rise to Nobility is a 1 to 6 player game.
That is odd.
That is a lot of players. We just got this. We got the Kickstarter edition, and I noticed we got a couple of rules wrong, but not a huge thing. It was a lot of fun. It took us about 2.5 hours to play a 3-player game. How did the duration feel to you?
It felt a little long.
Titch to me as well. Titch to me as well.
And the last couple rounds, even though the game picked up, the last couple rounds took forever.
Yeah, they
we
took.
were so advanced.
I don't know if I would want to play this at 6 players. The one thing that would have maybe sped up the game is I got one of the parts of the game wrong where.
But that would have just slowed it down.
Right, normally there's a dice count that you can't exceed at various spots.
Except for the stone council where it's
You
as
could-
many, but we had put it as you can deal there once per turn.
Right, because
So,
it's
but
as if
it's a
the,
small thing.
as if it's the same issue. Because depending on how many players there are, is how many slots are available at each guild, and that I got wrong. A couple other minor things I got wrong, but overall, you got your own player board,
Yeah, and we did get the Kickstarter edition.
right? So we have the
So
nice
there's
little
some
pieces,
nice little die, and
the goods. I love this little. You get it like an axe.
you get an axe and chair.
A chair. And these scepters from the wizards thing. I really like
Please
it.
sit in the chair.
I'm going to start. Oh, I didn't even notice that. The guy sits in the chair. Well, we'll have to make a close up of that.
Wow.
We also played with event cards. That's not absolutely necessary in the game.
But I think it added just a little bit, just to
Yeah.
incentivize what you're going to do each round.
Yeah, totally. And the art is fantastic. We recognize the artist from the
Of the North Sea.
the various North Sea games.
Raiders,
Explorers. That's the one we have, yeah. And our friend really enjoys those games as well, based on the art. So the art is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The board is big, but it's not overly big.
It's not overly big, and there is nice art, but it's not too much art that you get to choose.
Right, yeah. Some boards, I'm seeing a lot of new games now where, everything is just exploding big. The bigger the better. The
No.
boards take up so much space.
That's
You don't
like
know
the-
where to put anything.
It has a nice first player token.
You know what I noticed? That if you turn it around, it looks a little bit like the ghosts from Pac-Man. But on the front, it has this cool symbol. And the theme is really neat. You have all of these creatures. I mean, it's a fantasy world. So you're bringing in...
Elves and green elves
and even humans.
as well, and
The theme of the game, I think, really shines in this.
Trodents?
Yeah, what's it called? Trobits.
Trobits.
Which we
we've
hadn't
never heard
heard of. But the cards are really neat because you're trying to invite, basically, people to join your community. And based upon what they want, you have to give them what they want and enough of it. And then when you get them, you have to make sure that there's a house available for them to live. But that doesn't end there, because then they need to get a job.
Yes. I was like, what? I was like, hold on, what do they have to do?
So, on this card, it shows a mom and a dad and a kid, which means that when the reward for bringing them in is not just some points,
It
but
also
also...
gives some people that you could then place out on the board and have them go into apprenticeships in the different guilds, which then could become guild masters, which will give you resource and money every turn.
Exactly. And then if people use your slot...
Which is very valuable, because without getting those guys out, you'll get no income and you'll get left behind.
And I think this is so neat. The one thing I really like about this game, or I like a lot of aspects of this game, but you're bringing in people, and then you don't just use them. You have to make sure that they're good. And then by showing that they're good, then they give you a cut because they get some money, or you get them a really good job
And
as
they
the
give
guild
you the
master.
resource.
They give you a resource. They give you a little bit. Plus, it also enhances everybody else's experience in the game.
Because
then
they all get an extra resource, but then you might get an extra dollar or two.
right, depending on if they go to your slot or not. Yeah, and I messed that up. So that could have
But
really...
it's a great game.
I really give it now it's 10 rounds, and I believe in the second printing, the game has been scaled down to 7 rounds.
But
And then in the last 3 rounds would be considered the long game. And then 7 rounds would be considered the regular game.
well, they'll always go the long game.
I go the long game because to me it felt like a real arc. You started off with just a few things that you could do.
And then at the last turn you're doing all 6 your die, doing everything everywhere, getting 3 cards, and it was just everything.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
What
Now,
do you rate the game?
oh, well, I was going to mention one other
one more thing?
Yeah, one more thing. We played with a little bit of the expansion, which was the Chancery Board. So one of the expansions is, and now this has to be used in a 6-player game, and I have no idea how long a 6-player game would be.
At least 5 hours.
Yeah, that would be really, I don't know how. At 3, I felt really good about it.
You have to be with 6 people that rate this game a 10.
Yeah, because you really want to invest the time in it. Unless you would then play the shorter version of the game, whatever. So
Play the shorter 3 rounds.
Right, shorter by 3 rounds would still be long. The expansion has an extra board, and you would have to use it with 6 players, because then it gives more spots for you to go to, and you could also then gain more personal cards. I forget what the word is, but these personal cards that you could score secretly using your die. Max did that. Where you can get a card.
And I got a total of 8 points from that, so
Yeah.
it was worth it.
You got one of these cards, and it has a secret mission that you're up to. And if you decide to spend die during the game, it unlocks that card.
But I think 3 die is too much. It should be 1 or 2 die.
Yeah, it felt like you spent a lot of time working on the one card. And this board allows you to get multiples of these cards, so you would have to spend a ton of die.
I think we could do a house rule.
Yeah, maybe
where
2.
Only 2, but you have to pick which 2.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but we haven't played with this. But just the base game and the way it works, I felt it was fluid. I felt it was not confusing, even though I got a rule confused. Or actually a couple rules, but I won't even get into that. But I learned it last night, right? But just the feeling of us playing it this one time, and we'll play it again. The points are really clear. The tokens are pretty clear. I'm right around a 9 on it.
You're around a 9. I was around an 8.75.
8.75. So I don't want to split hairs, but we're splitting hairs here. Maybe an 8.83.
8.84.
8.84. So I agree to that. I think this is a fantastic game. I know that it came out about a year and a half ago or so, but we were able to pick it up just recently. Definitely, if you like worker placement and dice rolling and dice placement and dice mitigation and bringing in things and no combat game. No one dies.
The only combat is you taking the space first.
Right, there's this little psychological, ooh, I think he's after that, and then you're getting it first.
8.84 is the official Justin Max rating of Rise to Nobility.
Wow! Wow!